Kavan, welcome, brave souls. I am your GM in the Great Barrier, and we are here tonight with Star Trek Adventures Broken Sword. We are starting a new episode tonight, our 9th of the season. tlha'wI, tlha'lu'ghach. As we're getting things set up here, we just have, of course, our usual shout-outs. We will be absent one player through the session, so I'll go ahead and give them their acknowledgement now. One Joe, the OverlandGamer. He plays our ship's helm officer and our ship's helm officer has been playing as captain at times, and is just generally a treat, particularly if we need to cut a musical number, apparently. One OverlandGamer, so do check them out. They've been playing different things on their channel. Joining us, however, tonight would be one Caligo playing, or Zyla OXO as his other Twitch channel goes, and tell us, Caligo, what's been going on over at your channel?
Nothing much. Just madness mostly. I have a project in the works, but I have to keep it low now.
Oh, fair enough. Well, it'll be something for us to look forward to later on down the line. As usual, for those watching it in the archives, the description of the video has both of their links so that you know where you can find them and give them the follows, everything. Yeah, I think then we are going to just jump right into the action. No log this evening, but instead we are just going to go right in, and we start off with the Jan, the Raptor-class vessel, moving through space at warp. You have been traveling some weeks, going back the other direction from a pelagic world you'd found at the Triangle, and not only to find a target, but to ultimately defuse what came out to be a very different and unique threat, not just to your ship, but that could have had broader implications had it gone along. More on that may come as we proceed here. Let's touch base. Let's start us off by checking in with our officers. Let's start with the head of the house and owner as well as former captain of the ship, Tabak. In the days since the Jan has left that world, and you've drawn ever nearer to Mastocal, what have you been up to?
Well, for a good part of it, just sort of seething at the situation that he's allowed himself to be put into. And trying to work up the gumption to try to go talk to the guy that they rescued.
Yes. The man you know only as Chauveau.
Right.
Yes. Well, we could arrange that.
His schedule since we got him on board has just been weird. Like, he's working on a different clock than the rest of us.
Indeed.
He goes to the galley to grab food rather than joining us, and it's at odd hours in the night shift. And he's not really talking to anybody. He's just staying in. We had to kick somebody out of their quarters to give him a room because there aren't that many quarters. So.
Indeed not. Well, it just so happens you are in luck, because after having spoken, I would guess, you could have addressed Azik. You could have gone straight to Vopri on this, or perhaps gotten word from somewhere at like someone else in the crew. Maybe even I could see for not perhaps for even a discounted price, Zionel might have kept track for you, trading in that little useful bit of information. In any case, you happen to know that the Klingon, the tlha'wI that you rescued some weeks ago at this point, is presently in sickbay.
I will nonchalantly make my way to sickbay.
Indeed.
What part of the ship's day is it?
I would say at this point it has gotten to mid-afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are so effectively a second shift. I suppose we haven't fully worked out exactly how a shift system would work out on this ship, or like whether there's any distinction. I imagine Azik, while he does a bit to maintain basic discipline, does still keep things somewhat relaxed. It's probably a chance for, I would guess Azik is likely on the bridge. You are, well, you know that, among other things, I would guess on the bridge right now, either Vopri or possibly Traven are pulling duty around the sensors post, kind of as needed. I wouldn't be surprised if at Azik's like Azik might have designated your daughter tlha'wI to take a shift on the bridge to learn some systems and gain some proficiency. There are any number of other possibilities, of course. Chamok, Lin, the human that was brought on. Probably not Dar. Dar isn't trusted with all the buttons yet.
No, there's not a chair big enough for Dar.
Indeed not. But Tabak, you are convinced that you have this opportunity while the ship is functioning perfectly well otherwise. You are not needed anywhere else, so it is your hope that you can resolve yourself and find the answers that you wish. Which probably makes for a little bit of disappointment when you step into the sickbay, and in the only other case where he is doing the job that he is set out to do, you see Dr. Shujia in the sickbay tending to Shuvo, who appears to be just sitting on the biobed undergoing, well, I mean, you'd guess that he could be here for a routine medical checkup, he could be here for a slighter issue of some sort. I would imagine at this point that both doctors are in the sickbay, and would it be fair to say, Rev,
one
that
is really unhappy?
Would it be fair to say, Rev, that Kresik is not happy anytime this man comes into the same room as him?
You know how when you have like a really nice set of tools or something, and someone else comes in and just takes your tools and starts playing with them and starts using them without asking you.
Mm-hmm.
You know how you feel? Or when that guy comes over uninvited and decides to just crash in your house. That's how Kresik's always like when this doctor, quote unquote, is in his med bay.
Mm-hmm. Yes, your homework, or your work home. How dare he trespass?
For real. And he doesn't knock. He doesn't ask. He just pops in.
Mm-hmm. At least he hasn't made it into your office that you know of.
Oh, no. Kresik has left the medbay a lot less often recently, specifically because he does not trust this guy um, within his private sanctum.
Indeed, indeed. Well, so yeah, at any rate, that does leave, well, yeah, you see the two, you see, Kresic over on the far end, grumpy, you'd say, I think it's fair to say at this point, Tabak, grumpier even than usual. It seems he's been that way for, well, since you left that planet. Would that be fair to say, Rev?
Yep. And now it's just grumpy, tinged with incredibly irritated.
Yes, yes. There's a whole bouquet of distraught or distasteful feelings going on here. But yes, Shusha is here with the with Shuvo. I do believe that you shall be perfectly fine. I would like simply to take one follow-up sample, he says, producing some equipment from his own personal medical kit and extracting a blood sample as he goes. tlha'wI. I trust you are not feeling troubled or impaired in any way. You there, Sean?
Yeah?
Oh.
Wow.
Sorry.
Okay, I don't know what just happened. I answered. I wasn't on mute.
Oh,
Okay.
Apparently the mic didn't pick up for some reason.
All right.
Apologies.
What? No, he said, yeah. I said, no, I am having no difficulties. Is there a problem which I should be aware of?
I thought it my duty to check up on our patient, the person whom you were tasked to locate, and to ensure his well-being, all in service of your house.
My jaw clenches again. Understood. Is everything all right?
I can say he is all well. Isn't that right, Shucha? He simply nods. Oh.
Can the man not speak?
I speak just fine.
Good.
Yes.
Would you join me in the mess hall for food? Or at least some blood wine?
I must advise against too strong of an intoxicant, although he has recovered well from his time there. I would not want to...
Are you claiming this warrior is not strong enough to imbibe one flagon of blood wine, Doctor?
I merely look out for the best interest of those in my care. And I do not hesitate to venture my opinions. It would be dishonorable for me not to do so, to provide sound medical advice.
One flagon will do him no harm.
The quality of it should, I suppose, not be so much of a problem for him.
Of course not. Jack, come with me, please. Join.
The doctor gives him a pat on the shoulder and says, let me know if you should require further care, and I will provide you all the aid that you need. The Klingon steps forward. His expression is like just absolutely like it is stone-faced as he gets up from his post. This tlha'wI Tabak, this man who has undergone not only the treatment to care for the Kuvat plague, but the has actually undergone some follow-up procedure such that he has proper hair follicles that have grown into a proper braiding. He carries himself, or he stands fairly tall as a warrior, but there's perhaps a very slight, I wouldn't say gaunt, but there's a quality that is, there's an unusual quality to him walking around in his armor, like almost a feeling of not quite fitting to it, or something of the sort. The armor that he wears is the standard of the House of Kurath, the soldiers that operate on their ship. Though it is a bit lighter than the others, I'd say it's closer to a standard uniform as opposed to like full combat armor. Although, pretty much any Klingon officer on most ships of the day tend to wear armor as a uniform. I feel like that almost goes without saying.
Yeah, understood.
Yeah. But the two of them will step aside, and Chuja will clean up his gear. Tabak, I'll tell you what, we'll revisit sickbay in a moment, so that, Tabak, you can have some time with him if you'd like. Unless you'd prefer to defer on that scene for now. What would be your preference?
No, we'll just go. I'm good.
Okay.
Good to go.
Yeah, then we'll take it down to... We'll head down to the mess hall, where... Let's see, let me just cloak some requisite figures here. Would anyone like to have characters in the mess right now? Well, hearing none, I'll say it is relatively empty. As you enter in, there might be for a side dish of sorts. There may be a stew that you could smell simmering in there. Obviously, there's like Traven doesn't always put cooked meat on the menu, or knows to keep some raw meat around as well, but I imagine there may be some places where he experiments that is not entirely unappealing. So let us place you guys in the mess hall. It is left largely empty. A few mugs are set out for in anticipation of anyone that needs to come by. They are all cleaned out and arrayed for everyone's use. Though there is a particular one I would imagine Traven has. Well, there's at least a particular one that Traven has set aside for Azek, because I could totally see Azek having a mug that has engraved in Klingon, number 1 Captain.
He would. Everybody has their own favorite flagon.
Yep. He is welcome to countermand me on that point. That is entirely apocryphal, but I do like that idea right now.
It's headcanon now.
Mm-hmm.
Kresik just have a giant bucket of clean water?
It's not a bucket. It has a handle, like a cup, like a mug. Thank you very much.
Like a bucket.
On the
Bucket
side.
handle.
On the side.
To
but also
us-
one on the top. Yes.
To us, it's a bucket. To somebody that big, it's a cup.
The top
Yes.
the top handle is purely for ease of carrying around.
It's for Traven's benefit.
Exactly.
Right.
As you would plunking it down into a well and then pulling it back up. We apparently it's the mean to Kresic hour right now.
That's every hour.
That old man did the same.
I would never be mean to Crescent. He'd eat me.
True. Yeah. So, Tabak, you step inside the mess hall. Chauveau he will carry himself with some confidence, but he does, out of respect, allow you to proceed forward first and watches as you take your choice of seat in the room.
Yep.
I'd say that before grabbing your seat, you're able to find a convenient carton of blood wine, or the.
We're not doing juice boxes of blood wine anymore. We have actual barrels on board.
Fair enough. Would you go so far as to fetch it for your guest, or would you simply say, "Here, there's the mug, there's the barrel, help yourself"?
Oh no, I'd grab mine and I'd grab my mug off the table, fill it, and grab another mug off the table and fill it, and I would plop it down in front of the chair that he's right there.
Yep. He takes the seat. I think that he would go so far as to come and sit next to him, just to make it a little easier.
That's like the bald dude from John Wick 2. Or 3, I mean.
It's 3.
3.
And he is great. As an aside, I understood he did that because he was a Keanu Reeves fanboy.
Probably.
You know what? Respect that.
Yeah. That was the same actor who played the chairman's son in the American version of Iron Chef.
That's fine.
But he had hair then.
Yes.
Anyway.
As you reminisce over old Earth cinema, the
John Wick movies are favorites in the Klingon Empire.
You've not watched it until
kidding?
you've seen it in the original Klingon.
They've made operas about John Wick.
God. but you know they did.
Of course they did.
Yep.
What's your name? Chun Wen. That's a terrible name for a cowboy. Moving along. You're gonna edit all of that out, I know.
Maybe not John Wick. I could accept that as canon. Anyway, yeah. But yes, discussion over old Klingon tales of justifiable vengeance over the slaughter of one's familial pets.
It's a favorite in my household.
Yes. But yes, the Chauveau, he does at least he does crack the occasional smile and perhaps laughs along at appropriate points, and he'll match you pace for pace on that first mug of blood wine. I'd say probably we cut ahead to about halfway through as you've been conversing back and forth on whichever matters you would try to use to lighten the mood.
I have one question for you, which may spawn others. I know you cannot tell me why you were there, or what you carry in your head. How long were you there, and how did you avoid the little blue wisps?
As I understand it, I did not. Um, when I had to go to that planet, I used every bit of my survival training that I could muster, and there was very little in the way of threat on that planet. Nothing that could truly harm a warrior's body. But as you know, the true danger was to the soul. That voice in our heads, it spoke constantly to us. All of us that it had ensnared. But it did not try to take outright.
It simply tried to convince.
It asked. It constantly sought to understand more. As I remember, though I must say I do not remember it so clearly now. I could pull more from it when I was previously, when we were connected. The voices, the choir, it asked many questions. It sought to acquire knowledge, to understand the experience and the stories of where we came from. That, I think, was what it transfixed itself. It had older memories that are so faint now, but I do not believe we were the first visitors of our level of sapience, of intelligence, to visit that planet. Whoever had come there previously, it came to understand the concepts that we know with language from that, but it did not have long to understand them. It did not have long to grasp history and the broader context, I suppose one would say. He kind of looks down at his mug. I must say, I am troubled by how it's still, more that there could be any risk of its influence in my mind. But while it was persistent in asking those questions, it could not force a Klingon warrior. It could not force the heart of someone who would truly resist it to give up the information that we had. The others, they were not well prepared. One even tried to make it understand our ways, but it bore some sort of abhorrence to any sort of struggle, or it could not bring itself to battle.
Hopefully we have destroyed it.
Yes. If it had escaped either on that bird of prey or this vessel, then I would sooner have sooner taken a death without glory to know that we would not resist it, but we would not resist a ship that destroyed us, if only to know that the Empire would be safe. Perhaps we would
And
have
that
some
is-
honor in that.
That is still an honorable death. Protecting the Empire. Why did your ship go to that system? We checked its logs. It was going in one direction and then diverted to that world. Was that your doing?
Looks down at its mug. They were doing what they believed they had to. As I did what I must to serve.
Are you saying that the blue wisps were not from that world? You already had them when you went there?
No. Those wisps, they came from that world, and they have dwelt there a long time. They dwell no longer.
But why was the ship you were on? Why did it go to that world? It suddenly turned hard to the right and bore down on that world and then buried itself in the sea.
I'm going to see how much. Give me one moment. There is going to be one roll here. Though I think I'm going to modify this here to make it a pub. Well, this should actually be, if I get it to work right, it should only show up on my screen. Let's see here. I should probably tap the elements here. They came because I came. And I came because it was the only place nearby where I could make it on a timely basis.
So you brought the ship there
That
for
was
pickup.
That was the order. The bird of prey that came, it did so for its captain. By the order of its captain. That you came. He exchanges a knowing glance with you.
Uh-huh.
Well, I would presume that you
I had
received-
my orders as well.
Yes. You understand, then. As
So
much
you
as
had
either
no.
of us can.
So the captain took the ship there.
He did.
Why? It is not in the logs. The logs were scrubbed.
Just to be clear here, just to make sure that we're not talking past each other, he's saying basically the captain very likely came to that planet only because Chauveau headed there first.
Oh, wait! I thought he was on board that ship.
He had been on
I'm-
board that ship, but he had... the record of battle suggested basically that the ship had made an abrupt turn in that direction. The logs also showed that around that time, Chauveau's, as the ship was making that turn, or roughly proximate to that, his name had been scrubbed from the crew manifest. So,
Right.
the implication being Chauveau had left the ship, apparently
On a
the
shuttle.
captain, yes, on some sort of smaller craft. The captain doesn't seem to have been particularly happy about that for varying reasons. I mean, it could be, crewman left his post without leave, whereas he ought to have, done it at a starport if he was going to do it. Maybe there was something else to it. In any case...
All right, I had missed or misremembered that.
Yeah. To be fair, it's been a week since we ended the last... it's been 2 weeks since we ended the last adventure, so that is just for everyone's... to help everyone recall properly. Yes, the bird of prey that you found under the water on that pelagic world came here chasing apparently the same person that you had, or that is the suspicion.
Okay.
The obviously that captain is now on a permanent camping trip on an island.
Unless he finds the shuttle. Sorry, I threw a plot hook in your direction. I apologize.
In true Fifth Element fashion, I will have him answer the question. He will not find the shuttle. I saw to it that it was well hidden, and even if he were to find it, it is not within his. It is not likely within his skill to use it for any function beyond performing a more elaborate and fiery version of the Moktovor.
Good. I don't want to have to deal with that one again.
The less you deal with the House of Kurath, the better.
The engineer, I am assuming, who scuttled the ship, was found on the beach.
He takes a long swig of his blood wine as you continue.
Holding in his outstretched hand an open sample container labeled dangerous. Do you know anything about that?
Javot is going to he looks like he's coming down from that swig, but now he's going to raise it further and just empty the mug, like having it go down as, like, go into his gullet and maybe a little bit slipping past into his beard around at the corners of his mouth before slamming the cup down. Some things are beyond what we... Actually, one more roll here. Not quite enough. Whatever the captain and his crew on the Kurath ship have done, whatever they meant to do, they have been stopped. Filled by a plague that would have been terrible had it spread to the rest of the Empire.
It was an open canister. I don't care where it comes from or who was going to use it on whom. If it raises a threat to this ship, this crew, or my house...
Have any of us come back?
No.
Have any of your crew come back sick from that canister? Have I seemed that way to you? Have you felt?
As far as
melodies?
the good doctor inoculated me before I came down to the planet.
Then
I don't know what the inoculation was for, and he won't tell me, and I can't ask him.
You see, the rest of your crew, such as they are, seem healthy enough.
For the moment.
If you have true concerns, then perhaps you should bring that up with your physician.
And I'm clenching my teeth as I say this. I cannot.
He kind of bares his teeth a little bit to you. I know nothing that can help you, Lord Tabok. I cannot say anything that can help you beyond what I have already done. I have done my duty. I have served such that I need to, and such that I was called to.
I do not question your honor. I do not question your actions. I simply seek to protect my ship, my crew, and my house. That is all I have ever been concerned with.
He'll rise from...
If you say
Go ahead.
if you say there is no danger, and you swear it to me, one Klingon to another, I will believe you, and take no further action.
He rises from the table. There's definitely, like, something troubling him. But it could just as easily be that, as you have felt yourself, the difficulty trending around some topics.
Mm-hmm.
I can speak of no danger, Lord Tebok. None that you do not already understand. Do you wish to try and insight him?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, first roll of the session. This will be an insight plus command roll. I'm just going to call the base difficulty on this as 2. He is not trying to openly, like, resist or anything or contest.
We don't have any momentum.
No, you do not. But you can, of course, well, you can always give the GM threat if you would like. I mean, I know that you wouldn't like it, but it is an option, and maybe you get momentum if you succeed.
Yeah, I can't spend my determination for anything, can I?
You could spend your determination if you have a relevant value you would want to tap.
I will die, but I will not die stupidly.
That could be appropriate in a situation like this. It's not the worst application.
So that would get me another die, correct?
That would give you an automatic critical success.
That I will do that.
All right. So you use that to gain 2 successes, and you may roll insight plus command on top of that.
Oh, on top of that. Interesting.
Yes. Okay. I know it's been a little while since you've had to tap a proper roll here, but it does work that way. Okay, that is 1 success from the dice. You, on top of the with the 2 critical, or with the critical success, so the 2 successes that you get from the determination you have spent, that means you have a total of 3 successes. So, would you like to be the designated momentum officer?
Absolutely, positively.
All right, you may draw a point of momentum at your leisure. And you would learn from the check here that Shuval looks as though he can't tell you everything, or there's a look that says that he maybe is holding back, not out of any desire to do so, but more that there's something screaming out of his eyes to say that there would be more words that might have been exchanged under another circumstance, but
he's having the same issues I'm having with
yes.
certain subjects of conversation.
Yes, there is an earnestness to that, and like you can tell that he is at what he feels he can go with. He's basically at his limit.
He's hit the wall. He's hit the wall he can't go past.
Yeah. He's probably been straining against that a little while at this stage. So that you've gone this far is better than you might have expected.
Yeah, that last swig was probably
It helped.
the last. It helped with the last bit that he could do.
Yep. So,
And so Tabak looks at the guy's standing there struggling. I mean, obviously struggling, and Tabak just looks at him and says, "Glory and honor to you and your house," with all sincerity.
and to you, Lord, Lord Tabak. With this, I'll say, if it is, if you would permit it, I should prefer to return to my quarters.
As you say.
Yeah. So with that, he is going to leave the mess hall and leave you alone to ponder what what you have spoken about.
Yep, I'm just going to sit there and stare at my mug, which is still 3/4 full. Because he made a show of taking big swigs, but
Hey,
he was sipping.
I'm sure that there's some helpful Orion business practices that came into play there.
Oh, absolutely. You look like you're downing the blood wine, especially when dealing with Orions.
Yep. So back in the sick bay, we'll follow up here with the Raldar scene. Not Raldar, Kresic. I was thinking about checking in with Raldar, but then I realized I had to go back to the other place. This is not my usual Gorn mistake, I promise you that.
It's another different, unique Gorn mistake.
Yes. Channel it into your performance there, Rev.
Listen, it's understandable if you get your Gorn mistakes confused because they do all seem alike.
It's a scaly situation, to be sure.
Ooh.
All right, I'm in character now.
Good. Shuja has finished packing up his supplies and looks over at the other patient, whom he has never deigned to touch, and simply says, "Well, I will now remove myself from your presence, Doctor. Your willingness to accommodate me is always a demonstration of your patience and honor." Oh dear, we have just had a momentum granted by the OverlandGamer, who has spent 1,000 quatlus to say hello, and while he's about to be on the road, yeah, you guys do get another point from him. Thanks, Joe.
Wait a minute, you're letting him spend quatlus on our game?
Joe
He's
is
not here.
Yeah, he's not in session right now.
I've tried to do that and got yelled at.
Were you like properly away?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm feeling charitable
Okay,
tonight.
I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a specific problem with you. Clearly, the world is out to get you, Sean.
Then that's what I've always thought. All
I
right.
knew it. I knew it all along.
knew it. You simply confirmed your own biases. Thank you. Okay.
Correct. Moving on.
Everybody secretly hated me this whole time, and I knew it. I was right.
And some of them not so secretly.
Anyways, where was I?
uh,
Honor, blah blah blah,
yes.
something.
The utmost condescension that Shuja can deliver. You're starting to get the feeling that maybe he doesn't like you either.
Oh, I may have that feeling, but I do not care. Why?
Yeah. Well, let's see. Yep, Joe is done disrupting the game by spending some threat in the, or spending additional quatlus to give the GM some threat because Rev, the galaxy is conspiring against you, and
That's
No,
right.
nobody likes you, and you knew it all along.
I mean, yeah. But no, he's asking. He asked the doctor that. Why?
Oh, as in the why is he?
He
Why
just
is
no. He. That's all he says.
He cocks his head slightly and just says, "Oh, if my if you are curious as to my tending my duties, I do require a space to do so, and well, the our Lord and those those whom are clearly important to him deserve the utmost treatment. The very best that I can provide in service of him." So, it is as simple as that. He turns his back on you and starts walking towards the door.
Pull out my disruptor cannon and shoot. No, just kidding. Not yet.
And we're
Someday.
yeah. You'll get to roll those. They'll get to roll that 5 challenge die weapon sometime.
Sometime, but not today. I'm gonna turn back to my patient. How has he been doing?
He's been.
Hey, little man.
Oh,
How
hello.
you doing? Tiny? Small bean? You're just a little guy.
Hello.
Hi there, Ray.
Oh, shit!
I appreciate the. I mean, I do.
I didn't know I was on. I thought it was muted.
To be fair, you had been muted there, but I just. Oh.
I'm gonna assign all sorts of context to what you just said that has absolutely fuck all to do with what you are actually talking about.
I was talking to my cat. I was being
Yeah.
creepy.
Okay.
So, I will say, Kressik, the Klingon has not been responding well, you found, to a new anesthetic that you are trying out, because he is convinced you that you are a small-beaned little creature of some sort. He might have mistaken you for DuPont, who came in the other day.
Yeah, that's what I was imagining. He probably saw
That's-
DuPont
Yes,
in here.
and he's hallucinating him right now when you look over him. That said, his ribs are healing very nicely. The disruptor burns
good.
are. He lost a redundant organ or two, but
That's what they're there for.
yes.
If you can't be cool and regenerate your organs like a Gorn, you gotta have redundance.
Yep. But yeah. He's coming out of the haze and realizing that you are quite the opposite of the small, mechanically augmented cat man. Oh. Do you have more of whatever you gave me?
Maybe.
I don't know if I want more right now.
It is probably best that you not develop a dependency for it. You are healing on schedule. How do you feel? Aside from the visual hallucinations.
Very strange, I must admit. In one sense, I must curse myself. I curse myself very little bit. That I had done so well to avoid that dreadful plague, but to have been afflicted at it when at the moment that my guard was down.
It could not be controlled.
Not
We are fortunate it did not spread to the entire ship.
not when you have. He looks as though he's about to do something that you've seen a great many times on this ship, particularly from its guests, which is the make a regrettable comment about one of the Gorn. In this case, about... it was going to be about Dar instead of you, which is, I guess, at least refreshing. But yeah, you're still gonna get some vintage Klingon speciesism there.
He does seem surprisingly better than some of the other Klingons that Kresik has dealt with before, though.
Mm-hmm.
So he's gonna let it slide this time.
Yeah. I must admit, though, although I did not feel fully myself, fully Klingon, he said. But I do feel an absence.
Did you feel the fear before it disappeared?
Klingon warriors do not feel fear, he says.
Good. Then you are almost fit to return to duty.
Yeah. Kresik, would you like to pull an insight check?
Of course. Insight is, of course, one of my best stats at a solid 7.
Certainly. Let's see. So we'll call that insight, and I would normally make this command, but I will give you medicine in this situation.
Could I use my psychoanalysis focus?
That would apply.
Beautiful. Gotta roll 12 or under. Difficulty? He's contesting this, I would imagine, right?
I don't think he's actually going to contest it in this situation.
So the difficulty then?
Oh, the difficulty would just be 1. Apologies. Maybe you're dwelling a little too much on your own experiences in that, but he is you don't really pick up much past him. Maybe it's I'm going to say it like there isn't a complication coming into play here, but I think he's maybe going to take what you said a little more personally than you at first realizes. He says, to suggest I would have share in their fear. I may have not felt fully Klingon, but I knew what I was enough to not revel in that such dishonorable and distasteful feelings. I know not what you experienced, but I want none of it.
Good. So, when you are fit to return to duty, where shall we deposit you, send you?
I will find my way from whichever port I can depart from. Wherever you drop me, I will find my way. My house deserves to know what became of the ship.
And your house again?
I serve the House of Kurath. Yeah. I'll go ahead and give you, Kresik, you remember they were the ones that were making the play on Galiden too.
Oh, he knows. He knows. Yeah. He remembers that.
Very good.
What was the guy's name? The second in command, the backstabber.
Oh,
You
jeez.
happen to have that on you.
Oh, Votosh?
Wotosh, yes, thank you. Cool. I have met your house before. A very fearful Klingon from your house, actually.
They sound like no member of the House of Kurath then.
Perhaps not. Votosh seemed less than honorable.
Is that name supposed to mean anything?
I doubt it. Do you need any water?
I would much prefer the blood wine. It may have been the hallucination, but I'm fairly certain that a large number of Klingons were talking about it in Imperial armor. Well, actually, that may have been. Now that I think about it, I do believe I saw Kalis himself talking with great warriors of the past, heroes of previous wars, and that they were all talking about heading down to. They were all talking about heading off to my grandparents' house for blood wine.
I could arrange for blood wine to be sent here. It would have to be diluted so as not to interfere with the pain supplements you are currently on to keep your body from tearing itself apart. But it would be better than nothing.
If it is forced to be diluted, then there is no point in doing so.
Then water it is.
I have no. He just tries to wave you off, but I imagine that Kresik gives him water anyway.
Yep.
He just kind of. I'll say that he is taken by surprise the speed at which you move, so he's not going to immediately swat it away. He'll just.
Unless you want me to insert more subdermal syringes into your skin to keep you properly hydrated, it is either this or diluted blood wine. Your choice.
Dude. Look, he gives you a distasteful look, really more so directed at the water than you, but he will take a long swig of clean water. If only to appease you, Kresik.
Did you hear any other voices when connected to this creature? One's not here or from your crew.
None that I recognized or care, although I do think now that it comes to mind, maybe I heard the echoes of some sort of mewling at some point. Now that voice sounded fearful. undoubtedly some weaker impulse of someone else affected by that plague. In any case, nothing meriting the time.
I see. Get some rest. By tomorrow, I will have you on your feet, beginning to test your lower nervous system to make sure you can properly walk and run.
With that, he just says, "At least I shall have battle once more soon."
One last question.
More questions. What is it now, Doctor?
The other one in this room with the Klingon doctor attending to him. What should we do with him?
There was a Klingon doctor in here? It occurs to you, Kresic, that he was hallucinating the basically Klingon Jesus.
Mm-hmm. Good. You weren't seeing the fatal hallucinations. And he just walks away into his office.
Yep, that is, Doctor, one of the few victories you feel like you've been able to deal with. And I am also going to note that I only... So, first off, I don't actually know what Joe is suggesting in the chat here. What exactly he is proposing, and I will ask him to clarify in the chat here, but I will note that the 2,500 quatlus have been spent to impose a complication, so the GM now has a narrative complication in the chamber. This could come up in another scene. This could be something that is elucidated upon by the person who bought it, once I understand that better. But until then, let's kind of have this. Let's have this.
Or you
going.
could just hold on to it and dump it on Joe next time he shows up for the game.
He's
messing.
Yo, you're missing out on the real opportunities here.
He's messing around with us. No,
You can show Joe that the universe is actually out to get him and have complicated him.
Also true. Yeah. It would accomplish the comedy rule of 3. But while all that's going on, Kresic, let us follow up with you. For this has been... The relative control you've had with this patient has probably been one of the handful of things that has served to lighten your day. Between Chutja's continued presence, the evasiveness perhaps, such that you've had understanding why you were out here in the first place, or like the lack of clarity behind why this mission came to be, and of course the events that actually occurred there, be it the voice of a long lost friend or of reckoning with the actions of others and the tremendous loss that came with it. We should check in with Raldar. Would you like the engineer on the would you like him in his place of work in the engine pit? Would you prefer he be dealing with someone else right now? What would you like to do?
You know, I think it's just an average day for him. You know, it's just Tuesday.
It is Tuesday.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, in that case, we could throw him in the reactor pit. We could we could have him check in with Dar, which would give Ray the opportunity, I suppose, to jump in as well, or anyone else who prefers to take Dar. I only offer the former because it was so ably done last week, or last adventure.
No, I'll be bringing Dar some food. You know, it's feeding time.
Okay, all right.
Bucket time.
bucket time. Ray, are you up for bucket time?
I think I could be up for bucket time.
Yeah. All right. So, let us cut over to the cargo bay. Not the cargo bay. The impromptu quarters where Dar has been laid up, which are located conveniently in the theater of the mind. Raldar, you input the necessary code to open the door with your bucket of, buckets of food and water, or as Kresic refers to them, mugs. And you see Dar in the room. I think it remains a relatively simple room, but you have brought in some enrichment. I'm trying to remember the exact flavor of what had been brought in. Like, it was, wood chew toys?
Some building blocks, chew sticks.
Yep.
A ball, I guess. I guess he can have a ball if he hasn't popped it yet.
I'll put this in your court here, Dar. Have you popped the ball?
No, Dar very much appreciates all the gifts Father Raldar gives him.
Yes, your oh dear, most regrettably, your father.
You like all the toys that Daddy's bringing you?
He likes daddy's
Listen,
presents.
I tried not to
He
say it.
loves daddy's presents.
Yeah. Granted, they probably saw some rougher shape in the because many of these came from the weeks and in some cases even months before you had some newer perspectives. Be they the visit to Hol Shamar, where you started to understand the idea of you gained some understanding of honor back when you saw, as you understand it, Raldar's uncle, who had led troops into battle, seemed on the verge of defeat, and basically lost a duel with an enemy general, but won the freedom of his soldiers to leave. Likewise, ever since the visit to that island and that time that you ate some leaves you really shouldn't have, you've different perspective, we'll say. But yes, Raldar enters in with more food in buckets, and more food in one bucket, more water in the other.
Dar moves towards the water and drinks it slowly, much less ravenously than before, giving it back to Father Raldar. And eyes the bucket. No utensils today. You were teaching him how, remember?
I was. He reaches back, he pulls out one of the back pockets a nice fork. I'll practice with this one.
Dar takes the fork, and it is probably the most coordinated he's been with that fork the entire time. And sits down with his bucket of slop and starts to eat it like a good boy does.
Yep. To be clear, I think that it's still it's an improvement from the baseline, but we're up to Klingon table manners, so it's less ravenous. Still the spear in fork, pull out living gach, and
Oh no, he's absolutely shoveling that in his mouth, but it is very coordinated. It's a very
yeah.
it's much improved shoveling.
Yeah. I also have to imagine the alleged fork Well, Raldar, would this be more akin to like the sort of implement you would use to like turn over a steak on a grill, or is it something approximating like just a slightly larger than usual fork for what would be our standard? I mean, you gotta go slightly larger for.
More importantly, is there a cork on the fork?
A cork?
Please, someone tell me y'all got that.
I'm sorry, I have failed you.
Oh, it's from Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Never mind.
I have failed.
You have failed most grievously. I will be sending you a clip in the group chat.
Oh boy. That'll be something for later. Yeah. No, but your boy is showing quite the fine motor skills and capability.
It is more like the large tinsel.
Gotcha.
He needs a big fork.
A pitchfork.
Yeah. No. You've definitely noticed since you came back from planet Raldar, Dar is different somehow. Just that slight bit more. That very slight bit. It's hard to put a quality to it.
Dar cocks his head and looks at Raldar. Pauses mid-shovel. Something wrong.
Just reflecting. You are coming along very well.
This earns a very toothy grin, even though he does not know what reflecting means at all. But, you know.
Introspection not being Dara's strong suit. What a concept.
Shush.
But yeah.
You're still here. Usually gone. After the bucket. He points to the bucket. As if to emphasize the bucket.
I have a bit more time nowadays. I think it's back. I will begin our usual readings and see if you're picking up more now. Your experiences certainly help you understand the concepts I'm trying to teach better.
Maybe don't lock the door?
Door isn't locked, you just need to figure out how to use the button.
Oh. Didn't know that. I thought he got locked in every day.
No, I stopped locking him in about the same time I stopped chaining him down.
Oh my god. This poor boy.
I ran a D&D game for 8 people, and it took them 2 hours to get out of a room because no one bothered to check the door that was unlocked.
Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah, it's just like, I only press one button when I leave, and I do nothing else. I just walked out, You just had to push one button.
Okay. You voice this to Dar. And you see the anger, like self-hatred suddenly flash behind his eyes. Like, damn it. The ultimate rage quit. He grumbles as he continues to eat from the bucket just to fill his mouth so he doesn't say anything else stupid. The chewing continues on for a while. I will keep doing this until you keep saying stuff, like start saying stuff.
Yeah. It's pull out a data pad and start from the top of reading the Art of War. That's the important book he needs to learn.
Can he not like learn his ABCs first? Like, do we have to go straight to that? Like, you have to build up to Art of War.
You're
True.
reading him the Klingon Art of War, right?
See,
Yes, the
Right.
Klingon-
The Desh,
Kill.
the
Kill,
Desh,
Kalis, kill.
the
What
Desh,
happened?
the Desh Ah, the book that Tabak has written 27 copies of.
Oh,
Yeah, but when you have a little kid, you read to them first, and then you teach them languages and words and whatnot.
Yeah, I can see that.
I haven't been able to buy any picture books yet.
okay, all right.
I haven't gotten a hold of the giving targ.
Okay.
You owe me a new monitor. I just spit my drink all over my monitor. Jesus.
Spectacular.
Oh.
Good work. We have done all the damage we need to now.
Okay.
Um,
Dar is appreciative of these moments he gets to spend time with his father, so he will listen attentively to you ramble on using words he doesn't understand. So long as you do the silly voices, we're all good.
He does the voices. He does the voices.
All right.
Yes. So, over time, after going through a not inconsiderable part of the book, a chime from the it'd be something harsher. It'd be more like an alarm system, or I'll just set it to a general use a general alert tone. Comms come up as Azek's voice rings out. Attention all crew! We are approaching Mastocal. Prepare to secure the ship from warp and to open communication with Mastocal Port Authority. Also, get your shopping list to us. Your shopping lists ready. Zionol's going to hit the town, I'm sure.
Oh, I can't wait for Zynol hitting town.
Oh boy.
When you say hit the town, you don't mean rob it blind, right?
Zynol is a businessman. Thank you very much.
Thievery is a business.
We might come back to this planet.
Indeed.
And
Repeat customers don't like being robbed from.
not more than once.
Yeah. You got to build up a rapport with them first, Then rob them blind and never come back. Come on, there's a proper order to things.
Understood. Just be careful. Remember what happened last time we went shopping.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yep.
Something, choose your pain. Something, ship lockdown.
Yep. Well, that's so. As you guys make your approach here, would anyone like to go up to the bridge or to other stations? I suppose first I should ask Raldar. Are you going to? Do you think that engineering can handle things without you, or would you prefer to be up on the bridge to see what happens?
We have like 2 engineers. I need to be in the engineering pit.
Fair enough. Off to the
2,
reactor.
including me.
Off to the reactor with you then. You are forced to stow the book, leaving aside the utensils for later pickup and cleanup, and set to turn about, letting the very good very interested boy, now at least sated for food and enriched with knowledge to his own devices.
He's probably looking at the rest of the meat in the bucket, wondering which one is called the button. So he knows which one to push to open the door.
Oh dear. Let's see. Any parting thought, Raldar, as you leave?
No, and it's just like duty calls.
No, right.
Just leave the data pad
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
and start heading out.
Okay. Well then. Let's see. So you head off to the reactor pit. Meanwhile, on the bridge, I'll get things situated. Tabak, would you like to be present for that?
Being on the bridge? Yeah.
Yeah.
I always like being on the bridge, even if I don't get to sit in the chair.
Yep. Fair enough. Let me make sure that tokens are back in place. I can also say, at any point, since Tabak has decided that it is permissible for you to be, it's been decided that you are permitted more regular access to ship systems. Betty could also technically be present. An abstracted voice, but present nonetheless.
Tabak gave Betty her own subprocessor to the main computer to hang out in.
Yeah, and as far as you know, she's definitely there all the time, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, with that, let's see. I'll pull you onto the bridge here, Tabak, and we will switch things over. Let's see. Oh dear, and we of course can't forget the captain, who puffs into existence out of a cloud of tapioca. So
I just want to thank y'all for ruining the word tapioca for me.
technically, that was a different GM that did that. I am not responsible for.
Oh, okay. I said y'all. I didn't say you particularly.
Yeah, she was using the collective pronoun of y'all.
Fair enough. I will cop at least to perpetuating it, however. So Tabak, you step out of the turbo lift and
Walk down the neck.
yep. Or you wouldn't actually. I suppose unless you went up. Well, no. Even if you were in. I don't know where you ultimately would have chosen to reside, but you probably wouldn't have actually had to come down there. You would have just, as you said, needed to walk down the neck. You'd step through the main door to the command pod and find Dazik in place.
Yep. I'm just sort of hanging in the back, you know.
His mechanical arm waves to you. Welcome aboard, tlha'wI. Hope you've been having a good. Hope you have been having a relaxing time here. Looking forward to getting into a port myself.
Tabak just sort of snickers and says, "That's what she said."
Is that what your that? Who's she? Is that your wife?
Never mind. An old horrible joke.
Just to
Continue on, my good captain.
Yeah, tlha'wI is in the background, just giving you a bit of like, I don't know, just shakes her
A
head.
snarl.
Yeah.
Klingon dad jokes.
Yep. As you step up, Azek says, "Well, I do rather enjoy this chair, my lord, but I could say for old time's sake, if you'd like, I could always hand it over."
No, it is your chair.
I gotcha. I I guess I'd just been thinking about it because I'd thought of taking us in ourselves here. It's been a little while since I've handled the helm. All
Well, the ship. Well, I had assumed so. The ship's still in one piece.
now what? He looks over and says, now what's that supposed to mean?
Leave that to your imagination, good captain.
Yeah. It does occur to you that this Azek's reputation at the helm has not yet been established.
That is correct. Tavok hasn't even been. Yeah, no, he's still gonna say what he said.
Fair enough.
Because it's funny. It's
Fair
Tavok
enough.
anyway.
Yeah, it's an inside joke.
And unfortunately, this version of Azek is not inside.
Yep. All right, Mr. Nogri, take us out of warp. Bring an approach on impulse power. All right, busman, take us out of warp. And yeah, the ship drops out of warp in close proximity to the planet known as Mastocal. Mastocal, as you know, Captain, and as most of just about anyone who has lived a fair bit of time out in the frontier would know it as a Klingon colony world of some import and size. Most notably, it is the port where a large amount of imported goods comes through. It is technically regarded as a free port in the Empire, well, at least by Mastocal, and nobody in the Imperial fleet has never tried to enforce otherwise. None of the houses seem to have raised an objection. Indeed, Tabak, you understand a few houses have interests, including one of the major ones, House Durak, if you recall. But yeah, in most other circumstances, yes, the like Mastocal is it is a fairly balanced location. Some industry, some agricultural work, a lot of trade that goes through here. It is, in some ways, a much more successful version of. It is what you would want for Mektor in many ways, but Mastocal has, either by virtue of the relationships that the colony has cultivated, the reputation, the size of it, the convenient placement of certain subspace eddies that allow, or that is to say, subspace trade winds, as it were, that allow ships to get here just a little bit easier. This place has the established reputation of being as safe as you can be in the Klingon Empire if you are not Klingon.
Okie dokie.
Let's see. Dock control is opening a channel. I am seeing a lot of unusual activity in the system.
From the back of the bridge, such as.
It's like, yeah, as it comes over and says, yeah, don't leave us in suspense here, Vobry. What's going on? There appear to be a larger concentration of larger Klingon vessels than I would expect. At least 2 such class vessels. One bird of prey immediately on sensors. 2 Bosch class vessels also on approach. There are a large number of other ships, it seems, coming through. Number of freighters, but some that do not match configuration. A lot of smaller craft. From this already reading signs of Sulaban, Creel, even a Terran design.
Are you reading any weapons fire?
No, that is part of the unusual thing.
Are all of the ships fully functional? We're not seeing any wrecks.
It would appear so. Many of the ships are on course for the station, it seems. I would expect a certain amount of freighter traffic, but many of these either do not have cargo capacity or they appear to have transponder codes which correspond to other major houses. I am seeing codes consistent with House Darak, House Degor, the House of Einar. Others I cannot make out just yet.
We
Yeah.
have clearance to dock.
Yes, Captain. I have secured clearance. I will say that some of those houses, Tabak, were immediately familiar as great houses.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question.
Yeah.
Wondering what they're doing here.
Yep. Yeah.
Are any of those great houses affiliated with each other?
Uh,
Like, are they on good terms with each other or no?
Offhand, I would say that it doesn't sound like any of them usually associate with each other in the same proper way. So it is a very curious set of people that have decided to hang out in the star system all at once. But yeah, we'll have the dock in port, and we'll give you guys a chance to disembark. So as the On's setting into maneuvers, I guess, is anybody interested in visiting the space station or the planet? I have rough sets for both. I will say the station appears to be a bit more bustling of activity. There's a little bit you could... if you guys would like, I can give you a little bit more information on that just as a start.
Yeah, I mean, what do we know about Mastocal? I mean, is it just the station or the planet? I mean...
Well, so Mastocal itself is a habitable colony world. That the space station is of particular note. It would honestly be more a note to Raldar if he were on the bridge. I'll pose this through this Azik. Since he says, Vopri, how is that space station looking for this? If I remember that right, or if things are consistent with what I remember, that's a Mortash class. Those can be pretty well armed here. Vopri will take a quick, very light sensor scan. It is a Mortash class. The station, well, if it were fully manned, it would be both a formidable... it would be a formidable outpost with considerable weapons, but it appears as though construction was not finished on this. Records show that it began construction in the last decade, and the High Council has not appropriated sufficient funds for it. It has some weapons emplacement, partial shields, but it does not have a full complement. It has, however, been opened up for trade. There are sufficient habitable elements of the station for crews to visit and to visit the place. Vopri just kind of shrugs. I can't explain why the Empire does and does not do some things.
Trade, you say?
Zional
As
decloaks.
Zynol materializes from the
Okay.
back.
I'm like, right, how did you get in here? I'm like right here at the back of the bridge. How did you get past me?
He's like right behind you.
Yeah, there's doors that are right behind me.
Well, you were close enough to the doors. The door stayed open, and then I just walked in. Sensors and all, varies. I feel like these doors seem to have a very large radius of detection. Like someone used to just barge through them regularly.
You're so full of targ fodder, it's funny.
I live to serve.
Yes, you do.
Still, it's interesting that there are all sorts of different peoples here. I'm sure it's a veritable wealth of supplies and possibly information, if that's something anyone's interested in.
Always.
Terrans are an interesting little bit.
Yeah. The Terrans are concerning. As are all of the
Self-righteous and arrogant.
as are all of the great houses showing up. Representatives thereof, not the entire households, obviously.
Yeah, Azek would be like, man, I'd hate to see what happens the next time all 24 of them get together. Someone's gonna die.
I can't help but wonder, and I'm no expert of Klingon culture, so forgive me. Are we presenting our guests to some sort of auction between the great houses?
Not that I
A
was-
ransom?
Not that I am aware of, no.
I was just wondering. It seems a perfectly logical... Can't believe I just said that. Perfectly reasonable conclusion.
You're one of these days you'll have to explain to me your form of logic and reason.
Well, whatever's going on over here, Azek says, I'm sure we could figure it out with a quick look. Captain, with your permission, I'd like to dock the ship and make sure that I want to find out what's going on down there.
Azek, you are the captain.
Oh, yes, but you are the lord of this house, and you do also own the ship. You pay my bills, so I'd rather, I'd rather just make sure, just be safe here.
This is our destination. This is where we deposit our guest.
Good. I mean, not gonna disparage them or anything, but they didn't seem like that much fun. Anyway, Mr. Nogri, take us in for docking maneuvers. And go ahead there, Captain. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Do we still have that injured one down in sickbay?
Yeah, I think the last I saw him, last time I really saw him, we were cutting quite the tune there. No, not the best singer, but hey, nobody's perfect. Nobody can keep pace with me.
Yes, as I understand, you are quite correct. But he's still down there, yes?
I think so, yeah. Just
All
be
right.
warned, he might think you have googly eyes instead of regular eyes. He seemed a little out of it the last I spoke to him.
Could very well be. I would prefer no one leaves the ship until we have a bit of a chat before after docking.
All
I'm gonna
right.
go down to the sick. I'm gonna go down to the sick bay real quick.
Yep. We'll move the scene, I guess, down to the sick bay, and I think that we can get to a scene here. After that, we might have time for one more, so we'll see how disembarking goes and all that. But yes, we'll cut down to medical. Kresic, the door opens on the to the main sick bay, so that I'm sure catches your attention. Through whatever window you would have, you would see it is Tabak moving with a purpose to your patient.
Have we arrived?
Yes, I need a word with that one. Is he conscious? Is he able to speak?
He can speak. He is suffering from minor visual hallucinations, but
Caused
otherwise conscious.
Caused by?
Tests of new pain medications on Klingon neural systems.
From behind you, a hand. He extends out a hand and says, "My fluffiest little guy."
Tabak just slowly turns his head to look at the guy. Slowly turns his head to look back at Kresic. Drug trials? Really?
I ensured they would not cause any lasting harm before testing them. I am not a amateur, Tabak. And I believe you would rather me test these on a unknown Klingon who you open fire on than upon a member of the crew when we are under attack.
Kresic probably didn't notice the body language of Tabak sort of tensing up a little bit at the use of his name rather than speaking to him with the correct title. But he'll answer anyway and go, "You are correct. Is he cogent enough to answer questions?"
He should be. I've been keeping him properly hydrated.
I see. So Tabak turns back to the unwitting test subject on the bed. You, what did your ship carry?
We carried a haul from from many great victories and dozens of good a dozen good officers and men whose fate I am very curious about. I wish
What?
to see. Well, I understand though that my crew did not survive the planet.
It did not. What contagion did your ship carry?
Contagion, he says, cocky his head a little bit.
Contagion. Your engineer was found on the beach with a broken canister. A sample canister marked dangerous and virulent. He had opened it. What did your ship carry?
I don't know what he could have brought back to the ship, not unless he. Well, I don't know of. I know of nothing that would fit that description. Perhaps he found some part of that plague that he hoped to destroy, or otherwise understand.
What plague?
The one that afflicted us, the one that your... He hesitates once again as, being just a little bit mindful of Kresik. As, he's about to debate on whether to use a word that he will regret. Let's see. Yep, he uses the word that one might find regrettable. That Hadebach that got sick in this room and that contaminated us with the terrible disease from that world. One that very nearly robbed us of being Klingon, among other things, he says, acknowledging Kresik's presence.
The wispy blue things was part of this plague?
That was the plague, I thought.
That was from that world.
Yes.
He was there to collect one?
We were there because one captain seemed convinced that some member of our crew had proved treacherous and needed killing. Oh, I wish he had survived so that I could be the one to at least put an end to him.
You were the only survivor.
And I shall... He kind of just deflates for a moment.
You were the only one we were able to rescue.
Well, at least that treacherous Patach died. Oh, I will admit I do not know what he did to offend the captain's sensibilities, though he did leave his post.
But your engineer was after one of the little blue wisps? That was what he was there to collect?
I don't know what my engineer did. I was cut off from communications after that first night when we were hunting down the Patach. From that point on, I had no ability to reach the ship, and indeed, the last time I tried was shortly before I saw it fly down from the atmosphere and crash beneath the waves.
Yes. We found it there. Total inert wreck.
Yes, he kind of... He just shifts a little bit uncomfortably.
Which, we were speaking of a contagion. Said it was one that your engineer was looking for.
I only presume that if he had a sample, then he would have taken it in order to study how best to beat it, or perhaps it was brought back to sickbay for that purpose. Perhaps he was able to take the sample off the ship so that any other warriors that might find him would have a sample before they did so. I was not privy to what my captain, any of the things they decided or what else they could have taken. All I knew is that I won many a glorious, we took many things on many a glorious raid.
Keep him comfortable, Doctor.
I will.
May
A word?
Yes,
when
in
you
your
are
office.
able.
In your
Yes.
office now.
Yes. Steps into the office.
Yep.
What do you think?
The door closes behind you,
Mm.
Tabak, and as you come in, and Kresic turns onto you in this small space.
What do you think?
I cannot explain my reasons why. I want you to take a blood sample from me.
I can do that.
Look for anything different from my previous samples, including any new immunoresponses.
The other doctor, you do not trust him.
Tabak looks like he's about to say something, and then his jaw snaps shut. And you see him with his left hand, he makes a fist, opens his fingers up wide, and then closes the fist again slowly around his thumb. And he just goes, just with through gritted teeth, just take the sample.
Very well. Takes the sample. As he's doing so, there is something I need to discuss with you.
Yes. As you change the subject, his hand opens up. And
I
he
get
actually,
way too excited to change the subject.
he actually, like stretches his fingers and rubs them with the other hand like they were balled up tight, and he's got to, release the tension.
While there was the organism connecting multiple beings, I believed I was hallucinating. However, I have confirmed by interviewing our patient here. I made contact with Woe.
You what?
I cannot explain. I do not have any rational understanding as to how or why. But I heard her. She is alive, and she needs help.
How do you know it was her and not the organism?
You were not part of the organism.
No, I avoided it.
Wise. However, the thoughts were distinct between minds once I convinced it to take a less active role in my consciousness. And I know my patients.
There is no record of any communications in the communications log.
It was not through the ship's systems.
To the best of my knowledge, Doctor, you are not telepathic. I don't believe that trait is common amongst your kind.
Not among... Correct.
Any of your kind. You do come in so many different flavors. Wrong word. I apologize.
It is better than what my patient out there said. I am fine with it. Yes. Well, I am not, but I believe Woe may have been, and with the additional mind-altering abilities of this organism, it may have been enough to reach and bridge some sort of gap.
You're saying Woe is a telepath?
I'm saying it is possible.
That may explain her unwillingness to kill, which I often found strange.
It is strange for her.
Especially for a Kazin.
It is quite likely. I cannot say either way, but I do not ask you to understand, but I am convinced that she is alive and that she does not have the luxury of time.
So the organism cleared your mind enough for her to get to you, is what you're saying?
It's possible.
And it's not just wishful thinking on your part?
It is not, because, as I said, upon interviewing our patient, he too recalled a similar experience.
And in your connected state, you assume that you assume that your potential delusion wasn't shared? Trust me, Doctor, I am not making light of this. I am not accusing you of anything. I am simply being skeptical. As a scientist, skepticism is healthy, and you know this.
I agree. As I said, I was convincing the organism of the need for my own privacy, and it had agreed not to invade my mind directly in the same way it did the others. So I can only assume that if it was a delusion, it would not have shared it with the others. There are a great many things I do not understand. There are a great many things I will never understand about this organism now.
Was there any indication from your, I don't know what to call it, any indication as to where she may be?
She was on board a ship or a station of some sort. There were other Xin there. I do not believe such communication would be able to occur over great distances.
Give me a moment.
I do not believe...
Doctor, give me just a moment. Tabak to bridge. Vopri.
Vopri here, Captain.
Are there any Kazinti ships at the station or on approach?
Checking sensors now. And it'll take a little bit of time while Vopri runs this look, but I think that just to add the slight element of suspense, would we like to close off perhaps on Tabak saying something to the effect of, "I have a hunch," or maybe even just a hope or something of the sort?
Yeah, because we are at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright. So, Tabak, you take a bit of a breath and you hope that, in the hopes that something, this one bit of luck may have changed, or that your luck may be changing in one small way. One one potential difference that this situation could make. And in the few moments where it comes back, you actually get a Voprite calls back. Tabok, I should let you know there is a vessel that is on intercept course with us. And that is where we are going to actually leave off the session.
Insert Majel Barrett's voice. To be continued.
Yep. So, for those of you in the archive, this is where we are going to leave off for tonight. If you ever want to join us live, we run this show Tuesdays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, you can come in, you can, as you have seen, run various, cause complications, give the players momentum, or me threat, do all sorts of other things that can shape the narrative in different, interesting ways. So, we hope you consider it, and, that you join us one of these times. But until then, we will see you around.